Hey folks, this is Kalani. The Shadowlands expansion will introduce a lot of changes and many new features for us to play with in World of Warcraft. You've probably heard about the big ones, covenants, the leveling changes, legendary crafting, but there are so many smaller changes that you might have skipped over or just not heard about, and some of them will significantly change how you play the game, and others are incredible quality of life additions. So here are 15 amazing small changes that you absolutely need to know about in the Shadowlands expansion. Now before we jump in, be sure to pop by our live stream sometime over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 12 PM PST, and we have some more beta keys to give away. So if you're still itching to get into the beta for a sneak peek at how Shadowlands plays, swing by and say hi. We always love chatting with you wonderful folks too, so I hope to see you soon. The first change on this list is going to be so amazing, and I'm kind of surprised it took this long for the dev team to implement this, but you won't have to exit the game to update your add-ons anymore. Just take that in for a second. It might seem like kinda whatever, yeah, alright, but think about how many times you've either found out about a really cool add-on or realized an add-on that you rely quite heavily on is out of date. You have to go update it, then exit the game entirely for the update to take effect, log back in, get back into your character, and then you can start playing around with it. But not in Shadowlands. You can update the add-on or even install new add-ons while you stay in game, and then all you have to do, the only step next, is to reload your UI. Any new add-ons will be available to play with, and all updated add-ons will actually be updated with a quick reload. I can already see how much time this is going to save in our raid when half our raiders realize their DBM or bigwigs are so outdated they're getting wrong timers. A quick update and reload and boom, we can start pulling the boss again. I also know for sure I've skipped over trying some add-ons in the moment because I was simply too lazy to install it right there and then because I didn't want to exit the game. So now you can install or even uninstall any add-ons you want faster than ever before. A small change for sure, but one that is going to feel so great when all is said and done. Another fantastic quality of life change is the ability to quick keybind in Shadowlands. I know several add-ons have had this for years at this point, but if you like using the default UI, going into a new expansion, or maybe you just like the default UI better, hey, I'm not here to judge. You can now take advantage of keybinding your bars and abilities much faster and easier. In the keybinding window, you can find the quick keybind mode button. Just click that, and from here you can hover over any action bar slot and simply press the keybind that you want it to use. If you have some weird keybindings, or maybe you just want to throw all your abilities down on your bars and set keybindings up like that, you can. Complete freedom to do what you want in the default UI. This should make picking up keybinds a lot easier for everyone, and it's about time this quick mode was enabled as a feature without having to rely on an add-on. So good job with that one, Blizzard. The quest UI will also see quite a few changes. Most notably is the split between main quest objectives that progress the main storyline and any side quests or objectives which are either extra fluff or just smaller storylines which don't directly affect the main campaign. If you see a quest with this new quest icon with the kind of shield background around it, that is a main quest. You have to complete these quests to progress in the story. If a quest does not have that new icon or shield, it is a side quest, which can be safely ignored if all you want to do is work through the campaign as quickly as possible. You can also come back later to knock out the smaller storylines, but you will not be able to progress if you ignore one of the big quests. These quests are also separated in your quest tracker on the side of your screen. Your quests will always be grouped depending on whether they are main storyline campaign quests or just a side quest, so you can see exactly which ones you need to do to progress without opening your quest log. Another fantastic addition to questing in general is the addition of a marker in the world space. You see this orange diamond? That's tracking where you need to go for your current quest. You don't have to open your quest log or world map even. Most of the time in Shadowlands you can just follow the shiny diamond. It will take you exactly where you need to go, and it will even show you whether an objective is above or below you, so you know if it's hiding in a cave somewhere. Perhaps the best thing about this little tracker though is that you can very easily tell it which quest you want it to point you to. It isn't stuck just tracking the next main story quest, for example. If you click on a quest on the side of your screen that you're currently tracking, the diamond will change with it. So if you want to track a side quest and do that first, you can just click on the number on the side and your diamond will lead you straight to that side quest. These changes will make it much easier for players to find exactly what they need to do for quests, so nobody should get lost along the way. And as if that wasn't enough, you can also now create your own map pin on the world map as well. If you want to keep track of where you found a rare, or where you found a treasure chest, or a specific monster that you want to kill later, or maybe a large group of humanoid monsters that you want to farm for cloth, or really any reason you might want to remember a spot on the map, you can create a pin that will stay on the map until you get rid of it. The coolest thing about the pins though is that you can share them. So if someone asks where to find or complete a certain quest and you know off the top of your head, you can create a pin and share it in chat so they can see where to go. If a rare spawns and you want some help, create a pin exactly where you are, share it in general chat so players know where they need to go without the use of any add-ons, and away they go. No problems. Forget asking for coordinates. Forget trying to lead people to a place on the map based on landmarks or nearby locations. Just create a map pin and share it. Everyone will know exactly where to go. I know some add-ons have been able to do this for a while, but to have this baked into the default UI to the game as a baseline feature is going to be amazing. The navigation feature from before works with the pins as well, by the way, so if you have a pin that you're trying to get to, if you just click on it on your world map, you will also get a tracking marker to follow in the game world. How cool is that? This next one is a bit smaller of a change, but I think it's going to be amazing for anyone who sends a lot of mail. Do you ever forget which alts or characters you send mail to and end up having to shift through everybody's mailbox to find exactly what you're looking for? Well, not in Shadowlands. If any character has mail, you will see an icon on the character select screen telling you that yes, this character does in fact have mail, but it also shows you who the mail is from. So whether you have some gold just waiting to be picked up from successful auctions, mail that you're passing around a few alts, or just a bit of good old spam from the usual guild trolls, you should know exactly what to expect from the moment you see your character select screen. The next couple of these changes are going to be to do with your covenants, and while you probably know the big picture changes that your covenants will affect, you know, things like soul binds and covenant abilities and different transmog options, different mounts, all that jazz, covenants actually have some more subtle effects that you might not have heard about yet. The first one is pretty cool. Each covenant has their own release spirit animation when you die. We're in the Shadowlands, after all, death is kind of special here. If you join the Kyrian, you'll have a big flash of white-blue anima as you're being teleported over to a nearby graveyard. If you join the Necrolords, it will be dark green, black swirls. You can probably tell where the rest of this is going. If you join the Night Fae, you get that cool dark blue purple colour for your animation. Absolutely beautiful. And if you join the Venthea, it's obviously awesome and red. So your covenant choice changes a lot more than you might think. Another interesting change that stems from your covenant choice is which dungeons you will receive bonuses in. There are 8 dungeons total for the Shadowlands expansion launch, and they're split up into the 4 covenant zones. So each covenant has 2 dungeons in their zone. One becomes available while leveling up and the other becomes available at max level. Each dungeon has a special bonus that can only be triggered by a player who is in the covenant that the dungeon has ties to. So for example, the Mists of Tyrna Scythe dungeon is in Ardenweald, and any player who joins the Night Fae will get special perks in that dungeon, such as checkpoints while working your way through the dreaded Misty Maze. Some of these bonuses are quality of life and convenience things, while others are straight up damage increases. Each dungeon's specific bonus could change by the time the game goes live. They are still tweaking things, several of them have been completely changed a few times already, but it definitely seems like they want these dungeon bonuses to stick around. There are large damage increases in Spires of Ascension if you have a Kyrian in your party. You can get a haste and movement speed buff in Necrotic Wake if you have a Kyrian too. There are big buffs to collect in Plaguefall if you have a Necrolord, large damage increases in the Sanguine Halls if you have a Venthea. No matter what these bonuses end up being, you will always benefit from bringing a wide selection of Covenant members, and you will always be able to offer a nice benefit or buff yourself in certain dungeons depending on the Covenant you pick. Just something else I figured you would want to know about. And then the last Covenant related change on the list, for now, is the fact that you will have an easier time getting around in your Covenant zone versus other zones. One of the upgrades you can progress through in your Sanctum is a travel network. It differs depending on your Covenant, but basically you get to move around your own zone faster and easier when compared to other Covenant zones. So Kyrians can shoot across the map of Bastion, Venthyr can teleport to various locations in Revendreth, the Necrolords get to do the same thing in Maldraxxus, and the Night Fae can teleport all over Ardenweald. Basically, if you ever have something to do in your home zone, it's going to be faster and easier because you have so many different points of travel. It's like a super extended flight path network, but cooler and shinier. Something that you may not have heard about yet, emissary quests are actually changing going into Shadowlands as well. We will no longer have emissary quests as we know them. Just complete 4 world quests in a specific zone and then hand that into a quartermaster? No siree, that kind of quest is now called a calling. We still have 3 of them at a time. They still come up at a rate of once per day, so it's basically the same thing, but it has a different name. They also have different objectives. Instead of simply do 4 world quests, you might see, well, that objective, or you could see ones like collect a special material from rares from a certain zone, or help a certain zone by completing any task in that zone, including killing dungeon bosses or rares. There's a wider variety, which should hopefully keep things interesting for a little bit longer. A bit of an annoying change with this though is that you do have to go pick up your calling quests before you can do them. So it's not like emissaries where you can just go out into the world, do a few world quests and boom, you're done. You have to pop back to your Covenant, pick up the calling quest for the day, then go out and finish it, then bring it back to hand it in. We're back to the old style of daily quests in that regard, but the good news is that even though these calling quests are tied to and come from your Covenants, all of the Covenants seem to offer the same quests, so you should be able to complete these with any of your friends or guildies, even if they happen to belong to a different Covenant. Something that you may have noticed if you've been paying attention to the world map so far is that you actually have far less world quests available to you at any given time. There's typically only 3 or 4 world quests for each zone, so the days of working through an endless list of world quests day after day are more or less gone. You will still be interested in world quests for their rewards, especially early on in the expansion, but it's going to be very easy to see if a world quest is worth doing because there's only a handful of them to do. It is worth noting that a lot of world quests in Shadowlands seem to take a bit longer to complete in general. There are still the kill one target and be done world quests, but they're few and far between now. Most of the world quests are a bit more involved, so I guess the trade-off here is that you might have less world quests to do, but they're maybe going to take a bit longer each, so the time investment might even out slightly. I imagine if you group up for your world quest rounds though, they will still fly by, but it's interesting to see the dev team tone down the world quest system a little bit in this new expansion. Now, one of your major concerns about less world quests might be, oh well, great, now it's going to take us even longer to get to Exalted with the new reputations. They're just time gating the good stuff, and you might be partially right. Getting rep might take a bit longer in Shadowlands, even though world quests aren't the only source of rep. But here's another great change for you. The number of key rewards, or power progression rewards specifically, locked behind a huge rep grind are significantly lower. The 2 main rewards I can think of that are locked behind rep grinds are legendary effects for the legendary crafting system and conduits which you socket into your soulbinds for extra benefits. You do need to farm rep with some factions to get some of those rewards, but none of those rewards are past the honored rep level. If you get your reps to honored, you will be able to buy most of the goodies that you want, especially the ones related to character power. So if you want to get to Exalted, you can still do that, but the only things waiting at Revered or Exalted will be cosmetic goodies like mounts, pets, tabards, toys, that kind of stuff. There might be 1 or 2 high-level profession items at Revered, but for the most part, the Exalted grind will be mostly optional, and the key parts will not be a huge grind like they were in BFA. This actually extends to flying as well, by the way. What we know of Pathfinder in Shadowlands so far is quite simple. Instead of it being tied to an achievement that requires lots of rep grinding, it looks like all you will need is a certain level of renown. That renown level will most likely not be available until a few patches into the expansion, just as the Pathfinder Part 2 that allowed flying wasn't available right away. But the good news here is that as long as you keep up with your renown levels in your covenant, flying will be more or less just unlocked for you. Renown is a weekly grind that is capped, so you can only get so far each week, and it has catch-up mechanics baked into it right from the get-go. So you should never have a massive grind to catch up, even if you swap characters late in the expansion. With flying being tied to renown, that's another key reward that will not be locked behind reputation grinds in Shadowlands. Here's another reputation change that you might not have heard about yet. All of the exalted rep requirements for allied races will be removed with the pre-patch for Shadowlands as well. Right now you need to complete certain achievements. If you want to go check, you can just go over to your allied race area, click on a flag, and it'll tell you exactly what you need. You need certain achievements and earn exalted with a specific reputation to unlock an allied race. In Shadowlands and in the pre-patch, the rep stuff is completely removed, so all that's left is earning the other achievements. Some of the allied races can still take a bit of time to unlock with this change, but they will all be significantly faster when you take away that exalted requirement. If you actually still don't have some of those rep requirements at Exalted, it might actually just be worth waiting for pre-patch to unlock those allied races, because pre-patch is right around the corner. That might actually be faster. And then for our final point here, perhaps one of the biggest changes in this list, swapping characters in the Shadowlands, or just trying to keep your alts up to date, is also going to be very different. For starters, an alt works kind of like a new game plus mode. If you've gotten to max level already and worked through the entire storyline and figured out what covenant you want to choose and all that jazz, you actually don't have to do any of that again. When you arrive in Oribos for the first time on your alts, you'll have the choice to completely skip over the storyline of Shadowlands. You can fast forward to the part where you've met everyone, done all the main quests, shook the hands of all the right people, and you can go pick a covenant right from the get-go and start working on endgame systems, all while you are level 50. You can level up through new bonus quests, side quests, world quests will be unlocked, dungeons, pretty much anything but the main storyline, and you can progress on things like renown without having to level first. That means if you really wanted to, you could level all your alts slowly but still keep them up to date with some endgame rewards. This is the first time alts are being treated this way, and I think it will make it significantly easier to play multiple characters throughout the expansion. And that's it for this video. This expansion is shaping up to be fantastic, and the changes listed in this video are just some of the ways the game is changing for the better. Was there anything in here that you hadn't heard about yet? What small change from this list do you think is going to impact you the most in the Shadowlands expansion? And are there any other small changes coming with the expansion that you think absolutely everyone needs to know? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want a chance at some of those beta keys, all you have to do is pop by and say hi. You can find us over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 12 PM PST, and watching the stream and coming to say hi is one of the best ways you can support the channel right now. And if you ever wanted to be included in the long list of names at the end of every video, a subscription on Twitch is the easiest way to make that happen. You get a free sub to every Twitch channel if you have Amazon Prime too, so be sure to take advantage of that. A big thank you to everyone who subscribed on Twitch already, and to our supporters over on Patreon. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, well, now you know how. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.